This is a spell called Dreadwave that I developed. It is a shadow spell in a short burst, and it deals a lot of damage to whatever it hits. Essentially, though, the spell effect will explode on whatever enemies it strikes, but it passes through objects, as you can see, harmlessly. Essentially like, casting darkness of your soul out at an enemy. This is a silly spell that I developed called the Chicken Egg Bomb. Now, this spell comes with its own custom light effect that I worked on. It's essentially just a healed spell that's been turned red, but this is not a heal spell itself, it's just the artwork looks that way. This is self-explanatory. Yeah. It is a chicken spell. And if you hit it on the right terrain, chicken eggs will spawn. See that? And those chicken eggs will cause further damage to whatever they hit. It's a silly spell. It's part of the alteration spell tree too, so if you are into alteration magic and you want a spell that can attack enemies, be my guest. You got chicken eggs. They go rolling into the water. Whoops. Whoops. Funny fact, you can actually pick them up. And, wait a minute. Were those the actual chicken eggs? Oh, that's so badass! It worked! Okay, I noticed that you could pick up certain objects, but apparently you can also pick up some of the objects that spawns in. So you can have an infinite source of chicken eggs, if you want, from the spell. I didn't even realize that would work. Yeah, right there. Those are real chicken eggs. Huh. There you go. I did something, pretty friggin' weird. Okay. Onto a serious spell. This one's really awesome. I worked a while on this to get this effect just how I wanted it. This is called Arcane Static. It is an arcane spell, and is part of the destruction tree. And as you can see, it gives off this, I actually named this file the Sprite Beam because it's green and blue. That's all it is. So, by itself, it's nothing, but when you cast it, whoa, dual cast, it is amazing. And yeah, I'm sorry if that's a little bright, but that's the intention. It's a super powerful spell, after all. The explosion doesn't seem to always stay when you move from different object to different object. So if you're casting it on enemies, try to keep it on the enemies. If you're casting on the ground, try to keep it on the ground. In any case, it does a lot of damage in a very short amount of time. It is not an epic spell, so it's not going to do as much, as a spell like Divine Flash. However, Divine Flash doesn't do damage. Divine Flash will heal targets in an area that it explodes on. So, if you have a little army of yours, you can heal them all in a relatively short amount of time, which is really cool. As you can see, I can take an undead mass explosion for some reason, but that's just a glitch with the explosion. It's not something I can actually fix. But yeah, this is a really amazing ability. Now, I have another. Actually, I have a few. Arcane Implosion. Did I show you guys that one yet? No, I did not. Alright, this is Arcane Implosion. Now, it's very similar to Divine Flash, only it's an arcane spell, and it does damage. As you can see, the projectile's actually different, and the explosion's different. This one is really effective. And I've actually modeled that explosion slightly. It's bluer than it's supposed to be. Normally it's all red and purple, but in this case it's also a little bit blue. And this spell is as effective at killing as the Divine Flash is at healing. You can almost say they're brother and sister spells from completely different sets, different spell trees. Let's do the Rune Blade. Now this is a spell, as you can see immediately when I switch over, I've got this frost effect around Deckard Cain. I am so frosty and cold. Behold my awesome weapon. Now this is really frigging difficult modding. I modded in a completely new weapon model. This is a bound spell. And let me try to get a good angle on this so you can see it. So I basically took everything about a specific weapon and I changed it. And it's a brand new weapon. This is Duskbringer. It is basically a Dawnbringer that I went into grayscale, turned it a bit blue. I put runes along the blade. I don't know if you can see them. I might be changing the runes so they're more visible. I changed the lighting effects several times over. It's no longer a rainbow light effect. It is a bluish, reddish, blackish, whitish effect. And it's like an entirely new weapon. It doesn't interfere with the original file, so you can still get Dawnbringer. Originally, I was going to take that weapon and have you upgrade it with dark magic, but in this case, I didn't. So this weapon casts a very powerful, explosive shadow magic on hit, and I will actually show you that. Help. Bandit. Another test dummy. Player dot place at me FF000DE5.
Never should have come here.
Actually, yes. And he is instantly dead. Now this spell won't kill everything, but it is very strong. Also, you'll notice, as soon as he's summoned in, he starts taking Poison Cloak damage. That's because the sword gives off its own passive Poison Cloak. Whoop. Oh, he interrupted the attack. Not for long. And as you can see, it also adds the Ichor stain on occasion. He actually survived. I'm quite impressed. Not for long. Yeah, now he's dead. I don't even know where he went. Oh, there he is. So this weapon is insanely powerful. And that is why it's a summon. I was going to, like I said, originally make it so that you could... Ooh, that is a lot of fun. And that stuff deals damage and knockback, so you don't want to be on the receiving end of the spell. Hey, you guys are gonna die. Oh, I didn't even get a chance to hit him. The thing did him in for me. And he died from poison damage. So this is like an epic weapon. Oh, and the spell effect ended. And as you can see, it just put me back to the spell, so I'll recast it. Woo. And we have the sword again. Of course, when you put it away, it vanishes completely. So it is an effective bound weapon. It's an epic spell, in all sense of the word. That's why it's an epic spell. I'm going to be tweaking the mana cost, however, because it is a little low for what I'd like. Okay, this is an epic holy spell. This one does not heal. It is a damage spell. It's called Luminaire. So here we go. Now it is essentially like the all other explosives that you've been seeing here. The main difference is it doesn't do area damage. Unfortunately, there is some tweaking issues. I didn't want there to be a projectile. I just wanted you to summon light from an area, but without the projectile, the radius is actually whatever you're targeting. However, I think this is a fair trade-off. It's not an area effect spell, but it will obliterate someone if you hit them with it. And it is like the highest tier holy spell imaginable. It's very powerful. It does a lot of dot damage and basic damage per hit, so it's essentially what the powerful shadow magic abilities are for this, such as the Shadow Aura, which I've shown before. This is a silly spell. I made it because a friend gave me the idea. And this is something altogether strange. Those are gourds. Those are gourds. that deal damage when enemies hit them. You cannot pick up these gourds as food, though. You can pick them up, but they are not food. Over here, see, magical gourd. I actually went into the editor and I changed this so that there's 4 each. And I think it's a really humorous spell, and it's pretty powerful for an alteration spell. And considering it summons a whole bunch of gourds to smack your enemies with, I don't think there's quite another spell like it in the game. It adds a nice light effect too while the spell effect is on. That is just funny. So let's see what happens when I hit an enemy with it, shall we?
This is a surprise.
Yeah, this is a surprise. Gourd! He gets knocked down, and now there's a bunch of dangerous gourds everywhere. The gourds can do considerable damage at low level. Higher level, they're not as effective, but it is a very effective hazard spell, as each gourd will deal damage. And since you can summon so many with each spell cast, it is like a really cheap summoner spell. Also because they can reflect off of objects and hit people in the head. Or you can just literally aim it at them. But in any case, I enjoy making these types of spells. I believe the gourds might actually steal health. I can't remember exactly everything I did to them. They're not, you know, individually strong. It is the group of gourds that makes the whole. And that was the silliness I was aiming for. But while he's still alive, let's kill him with something else. What do we have? Let's just throw Lava Phantasm at him. Woo! And now he's angry. And we will blow him up with a Dread Wave. Now, although Dread Wave is an epic spell, as you can see, he survived the first initial blast. And that's because if a single wave, which is, again, kind of hard to do on one target. Well, every time it hits his corpse, it goes crazy. And it leaves those ichor pools everywhere, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, if a single wave ends up hitting someone, this spell will cast by itself after cast. So cast it once and then, you know, spread the goodness. But if a single wave hits, it'll explode. It may not kill a low-level enemy or a high-level enemy, but multiple waves will do amazing damage to them. This is a spell called Searing Blast. And it's very similar to Ignis Lash. Not entirely similar, though. It leaves a very different graphical effect, and I believe it is not as strong as Ignis Lash. Ignis Lash is much stronger. However, for a bargain, the spell's pretty useful. The spell also has a unique sort of addition to it. Oh, no, we didn't want to add that same spell that we had.
Hey!
We want to add a bandit. There we go. Spell does a lot of damage over time, and it knocks them back. Ignis Lash does outright damage, a little bit of damage over time, and that's about it. So this spell does have a use even after
Now ain't this a surprise?
max level. Just being able to knock them back. And because it keeps casting, they get thrown back so far. So it's essentially a flaming Fusroda. So what we're going to do is dual cast it on him, see how far we can send him. Ah, that was perfect. Beautiful. Oh, right into the drink. Did he even make it? Let's find out. I don't know if he made it. I think he did. I don't see a body, do you? Yeah, he's in the water somewhere. I can't see because it's so dark, but yeah, I'm pretty certain he's a deep-fried, waterlogged turkey. Ignis Lash is pretty fun, and so is this one. They both have their uses, so if you prefer a bit of defensive casting, this would be your spell. Oh, you remember my amazing Breath of Fire spell? Well, I decided to make an equivalent for Frost. This is the Frigid Air spell, and it is essentially a similar spell to the Fire spell, however, with a major difference. These projectiles, these ones deal a little bit more damage than the fire ones do. In addition, it gives you an aura of ice instead of fire. And it explodes at a very short distance. However, because frost damage is incrementally less than fire damage outright, and there's more enemies with resistance to it, you won't end up having the same effect on some enemies as you do with fire. But it's technically a stronger spell. And again, technically, there's a lot of enemies with resistance to frost. So this is great for a frost mage. However, you're probably wanting something a little bit more. So, let's go to lightning, shall we? This is Hand of Lightning. And that didn't register. Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, that's why it doesn't register. Okay, Hand of Lightning will not show you a graphical effect when it hits the ground. It will have a severely less effect when it hits the ground, because the ground obviously grounds lightning. However, if you hit stone, it explodes, dishing out a load of electrical damage to any enemies nearby. So let's place a bandit.
Now ain't this a surprise?
Oh yeah, and you have an aura.
Son of a...
As you can see, I'm not very skilled in lightning magic, but this is a very strong spell. Let's do it again, shall
You
we?
picked a bad time to get lost, friend. Enough!
It staggers enemies when it hits them too, so it's a good crowd stopper, and is very, very strong in that regard. Before we show you, well, let's show you that now. Okay. Oh, gotta wait for that aura to vanish. Okay, now some spells, you know, are very similar to each other. This is another aura-based spell that I figured out how to do. This is called Winterborn. And it is a self-located explosive with ice and all sorts of damage. It has a hidden effect, though. It has a very cool hidden effect. So I will show you that. Help. Conjurer. And place at me a D4. So. Oh, she cast the wrong damn spell. Well, AA8, maybe?
Here we go.
Will you cast it? Okay, perfect. Whoops. Well, that wasn't a very good example of what we can do. Okay, so, it's going to cast Fireball at me, and I'm going to resist damage. So the Atronach is actually firing at me, and I don't know if you can make that out amidst all the blur. But every time it fires at me, I'm actually blocking it with this spell. Now the reason for that is this spell actually is using Barrier as I'm casting it. So it not only deals damage to enemies that are nearby, but it is also blocking them. Come here, you. It's also leaving a nearly invisible hazard on the ground. And I didn't want to add too many hazards with each spell I created. I mean, hazards are fun, but as you can see, it knocks back enemies and then freezes them solid. And I don't know where his body went, so let's just hellball this area out of frustration. Oh, there it is. Ah! And he is splody. Hellball again. Yeah. Hellball. Now let's, do we have Fellfire on us? Shit. Let's just Frigidaire him. I believe Frigidaire also explodes. If I didn't say that already. Whoops. There we go. Yes, it does. It shatters. Oh, that's awesome. I have to say, it was really difficult to get green fire into the game, and I still didn't succeed entirely. The red that you see at the end there, I was trying so hard to find that and remove it so it was all green without replacing any files. This spell does not replace flames in any way, shape, or form. You will only find the green effect with this spell and the Hell Ball. And I'm a little disappointed I couldn't figure it out. But, you know, that happens.
Never should have come here.
No, you shouldn't have. Now you're dead. As you can see, I can burn Flame Atronachs with this. She's barely wearing anything. Well, she's burned now. And your Atronach blew up. So yeah, I unfortunately was unable to actually change the entire spell to green. And I've tried everything. I've even looked up help on forums on Nexus. Believe it or not, I'm one of the few people who has achieved this without... Actually, I might be the only person who's achieved this without ever replacing any files. Because I still have flames. Do I have them on me? That's the question. No. 1 second. Okay, so we have flames. And we have the Fell Flames. Similar spells. Only, well, mine's cooler. As you can see, flames only does that. Mine goes... so yeah, if you're looking to be a warlock, my mod will give you that option. And I am going to add summon spells in to actually summon creatures too, so... I might add a few that have spells, like this, for instance. This is not a very high-level spell. Hellball is much higher than that, so... yeah. Poof. Boom. It was very difficult to get that to work, though, so there is a lot of retexturing I've done to make my spells unique, and as you can see, yeah, that adds the nice hazard here, so if enemies walk too close, they get burned. Hazards don't really have a very wide range of effect. Enemies have to touch them, so they're more or less just a nice little thing for larger enemies, or enemies that are running towards you. Very effective. With any spell that I've created, like, I intended the hazards to be dangerous in their own respect. And these are just obviously very humorous. Oh, that's so stupid. It's like, yeah, I came to the Ministry of Magic to learn the spell that summons Gourds. So let me summon Gourds. I'm actually thinking of putting the humorous food spells in the dining hall. Just kind of method to the madness sort of thing. Whee! So many Gourds. There must be more Gourds. Ah! So here we have a Conjurer and a Fleeing Cow. And I'm going to use Shapeshift Hex on her. Whoops. Shapeshift Hex is basically the what do you call it? The Wabbajack spell with a very wide radius, and it does not require a staff. Oh, she changed back. Scantily clad Conjurer, and there she goes. So if you just want to turn them back, you just cast it again. Then you cast it again out of spite. And I wonder if we can turn the cow into something. Let's try it. Yep, we can. They all turn into chickens, which is really cool. Interesting. Look, it's the friendliest bandit in the world, and today we're going to cast on him a Vampire's Blight.
Woo! Now ain't this a surprise?
This is essentially a high-powered DPS spell that absorbs health. Ew, that was gross. Let's,
You're looking a little rougher.
add another, and another.
The edges.
I'm gonna find
You
whoever
feeling
did
all
this.
right?
Sure you will.
Yes.
Woo!
It's a bad time to get lost, friend.
Now, it has a relatively short range, as you can see, when it comes to an area effect. But it's a... Whoa! It's a standard, but yet powerful, effective shadow spell. And again, shadow magic pierces. I believe this also drains some of their magicka, too, so they won't be as effective as they think they are against us. Well, this was a little experiment that I worked on, and it actually paid off. This is the arcane, I've shown you this already, but this is the arcane studies room. And I put in a wand. Now, this is the same model I made for Warchild V1. And as I said, I plan on including that mod alongside this eventually when I do finish this. Now, this is the Wand of Expel Arms. That's obviously a Harry Potter pun. It does 40 points of arcane damage. Wands are going to vary in strength, and I think I'm going to make it so that there's not going to be too many of them, but they're each going to have unique spells that you don't really get to cast, or maybe there will be a few that have spells that I've already added in. But they're all going to be spells that I made, and these wands are each going to look unique, and I'm going to make it so that you can craft upgrades for them. Right now, this wand doesn't do a lot of damage. Isn't that pretty cool? It's just like in Harry Potter. It's like, Expelliarmus! Expelliarmus! Now, as the name suggests, and as in Harry Potter it does, this wand can be used to stun, and sometimes, expel a person's weapon. Now, I haven't gotten it to work 100%. And she's not even, like, a combatant right now, so... Whoop, we missed.
Now ain't this a surprise?
Yep. Well, it is very effective on low-level bandits, so, pew. And it doesn't cost much enchantment. Actually, I think it doesn't cost any enchantment to cast. And I might leave it that way, considering the wands don't start out very good. So I could purposefully scale the wands, and they'd be an alternative to staffs. After all, this is supposed to be the magic mod to end all magic mods, you know, within reason. So, you know, whatever you feel like. And I still haven't found the cause of that small glitch where you try to walk over here and it just said, I don't know. Okay, I should probably show you the teleport spells if I haven't already shown you. I believe I did. But this is the teleport to the academy. And if I did show this already, then forgive me. So teleport to the academy is based on Harry Potter, and you glow green, you know, like the whole port kind of spell that they have. And again, that's one of the reasons why I made this mod. I was just like, there are so few mods that do this kind of thing where there's tons of spells in the school. Now this one, however, is really interesting, and it is actually the product of a small problem I had while modding. There is a place here called the Shadow Vault that I created. It's essentially a dimensional door from the castle to the Shadow Plains, which I am currently in the process of making. Now, unfortunately, that area is so bugged that I'm considering barring access to it. Not the Shadow Plains, the Shadow Vault is bugged. So I said, okay, you're going to be like that game? Well, I'll just make a spell. Woof, and we're off to the Shadow Plains. And we are here. Now, obviously, I'm going to change the lighting. But for the more part, this includes black water that is from the Shadowmere pool. It's really gross, but I love it. The ground is a mix mash of frozen marsh, and it's going to be snowy rocks. You have a lot of Soul Cairn stuff. Customized crystals, which I am actually considering removing because some of the files don't really get along, and I don't know if it'll cause a major problem. Now, these are customized trees that I made, and I had a very difficult time putting them into the game. Now, the reason for that is I may be good at what I do, but I'm a visual learner. I have to see it. I have to disassemble it to learn how to do it. And Darkwood Kane was so friggin' confused about this tree. I found the bark files, I grayscaled, blackened it, I spattered it with blood, and then I spent hours finding both the animation textures and the base textures for the pine needles, and I turned them blue. and I couldn't do it with the other trees. I looked, I tried, I failed. Maybe I'll succeed later on, I don't know. But then I did do it with the moss. There's two different moss textures that you're seeing. This is the hanging moss here, the blue moss. It's normally green in brownish, but I made it blue because the trees are blue. Why not? And then there's another one. Oh, it's somewhere over here. Yeah, there it is. And it's basically, you know, another moss thing, identical texture to that. So there's two different models here. I'm gonna make this place very foggy and very gross. So, you know, right now it doesn't look like the Shadow Plains much, and half the distance crap is in here and all that. There's a lot of unfinished stuff going on, but you're going to come to this place to learn most, or if not all, the shadow spells. Whether or not I'll put hostile mobs, I'm unsure. I tried that before in a mod that I was going to release a long time ago, and that didn't go so well. It didn't work. As you can see, I'm building land here. It's very much incomplete. Woo! And we're just going to pour it over there again, because we can. And this was the original entrance. I'll show you the Shadow Vault, as I'm probably going to remove it from the basic game. Having trouble getting up there. Okay, so this is where you were supposed to enter. Again, this isn't really good placement of stuff. I put all this stuff here before I put the entrance, so I guess it's kind of good. I'm probably going to block this off anyway. So we enter the Vault of Shadows, and I spent a good time on it. It's very simple, very effective. We got these giant black soul stones, and you can't really... Let's use a Midas spell. I gotta pay homage to Midas. If it weren't for his mods, I wouldn't have made my own spells. No, I don't know how to replicate that effect, that beam. I don't know what beam he used, but gotta give him grats. So as you can see, this doesn't Havoc. Let's use one of mine. Gourd Lord. Woo! Nope. Maybe if we use a shadow spell. Maybe if we use a shadow spell. Which one should we use? Why don't we use the most powerful one I designed? No such luck. So as you can see, they don't have it. They're just there for decoration. I might add more of them later on. That makes me want to puke. Alright, well, there's a nice little frosty light up there, and this is supposed to lead back, but it doesn't work. As a matter of fact, I don't believe we can even leave the Shadow Vault. No, we cannot. For some mysterious reason, we cannot leave the Shadow Vault. This is why this area I have deemed unnecessary, and I could change it. I could change it to make it work. Will I? I don't know. Maybe if we use a holy spell. The opposite of shadow is light. Oh, nothing. No, there is no way out of here. Once you enter, you can't leave. So that is why you have spells such as the teleport spells. And again, I don't want to have to regulate the player's movements, so I'm going to block off those entrances or redo them or redo the vault entirely. But yeah, that's some of the progress I've been doing here. Well, we're here with Farkas, and he's going to help me demonstrate some spells. Now, the first spell I have
You look strong.
is something I've been wanting to make for a while, simply because the game doesn't possess it. This is called Rainbow Beam.
Never should have come here.
Unfortunately, he thinks I'm hurting him. This is a healing spell. I need to fix it so that it is not hostile. He currently believes I'm trying to murder his ass. In fact, the description says that I am in fact dealing damage, but I am not dealing damage to him, I am healing him. So yeah, I don't know if you can see this in the YouTube video settings, or if you'll have to wait till the video upgrades some more, but that is a rainbow beam.
I'll fix you good.
Something the game doesn't actually have. How did I get a rainbow beam into the game? Well, it does exist as a very small file for only a few separate effects. Not as a beam, not as a fireball. As a matter of fact, I would love to make a fireball spell like this. But yeah, Rainbow Beam is a really effective healing spell. It is a dot heal slash beam, so the more you stay on the target, the more it heals. In addition to that, it heals over time, consistently. Now, after healing Farkas, I think we deserve to kill him, simply because we were allowed to spread joyous rainbows on him. So this is an interesting spell, a bit of a shock frost spell. And forgive me for not making many shock spells. There's probably not going to be a whole lot, simply because shock magic wasn't given much in the game as it stands.
I'll fix you good.
No, you won't. We will kill you. Literally, shock magic is the most underused spell effect in the game. And by that, I mean literally, there's very few effects I can actually mix and match to get new shock magic. I am planning on reconfiguring some of the art files, making new colors and things like that, but as it stands right now, this is a very interesting effect. It is an official cloak spell, not an aura. This is a cloak. And, yeah, I'll get to that shortly. So it gives off a passive frost aura while equipped. And now, this spell effect I made myself, and let me see if you can actually see that while let's get rid of the frost aura crap. Okay, so this is damaging him with shock magic and a slight bit of frost. More shock than anything. And it's a lot stronger than the normal shock cloak, but it doesn't look anything like the original shock cloak. Not in the least. I customized the art files myself to look more wispy and all that stuff. But yeah, he's taking damage, more damage than he normally would. So if you're a master in shock magic and you scale this up, it'll be really, really strong. It's a nice passive spell. It's not the highest tier. I can just heal him up so he can take more pain and be on holy fire there. Ooh, you suck. And I think we will... This is not in the spell mod currently, but I will be adding it in because it's a favorite. Just Jade Lightning. Because nothing gets that much, you know, nothing is that good than Jade Lightning.
Crush you like a bug.
Let's see what the range is on this, because I don't even know. Oh, it ended. I want to see what the range is on that. Holy shit. Okay, well that's a lot better than the,
I'll tear you to pieces.
He's still taking damage. Well, that's freaking awesome. Okay, so that's a lot. Discount everything I said before. This is a lot better than it appears to be. Oh my god. The range! Oh, try. Bam! Bam! Literally, right here. That is how... Oh my god, don't cast that in town. I didn't even realize that would do that. Shit. Burn in hell. I made Jade Lightning for a friend, and he quite enjoyed the spell. Oh my god, that's why. That is why. It is just a badass spell. So I will be remaking this spell for Skyrim. But for now, you know, there's only a few lightning spells in the game that I've added, and that's one of them. So, yeah. Let's Rainbow Beam his corpse. Whee. I know I have a spell here that brings back the dead, and I'm trying to remember which one that was. It's not Phantasm. It's not that. It's not that. I can't remember now. It's gonna kill me. One of them brings back the dead when you hit them with it. It's a shadow spell. It can't be Dreadwave. Can it? No, definitely not. Oh, you poor bastard. Oh my god, what a mess.